Let me switch gears and ask you about the changes coming to the Department of Veterans Affairs. The White House announced yesterday that the agency will be overhauling electronic health records for veterans in an effort to reduce wait times for medical treatment. VA Secretary David Shulkin spoke about the move at the White House press briefing yesterday. Listen to this. Love to get your reaction.
Having a electronic health record that can follow a veteran during the course of his health and treatment is one of the most important things I believe you can do to ensure the safety and the health and well-being of a veteran. So that's why this is so important. I told Congress recently that I was committed that VA would get out of the software development business. This mission is too important for us not to get right.
General, your thoughts on this change?
Yeah, this is a smart move he made. By the way, Shulkin's getting pretty high marks by everybody here in D.C. and what he's doing with the Veterans Affairs, one of the toughest bureaucracies in the United States government to deal with. What he's actually doing, he's going to use the Department of Defense's electronic record system and connect to it. And this is a smart move as opposed to developing a whole new one, which was the initial thought process, which would cost hundreds of millions of dollars and maybe it wouldn't work right anyway. So he's got some experience in doing this in the private sector a number of times. He feels comfortable about it. He's going to work with Secretary Mattis's folks to make this seamless for our soldiers, for our veterans. All of our veterans come from the Department of Defense. So as they transition out, there's always this period of time where they're sort of in a vacuum. And VA doesn't know who they are and what their needs are, et cetera. That's going to stop. So this is excellent once he gets this done, and it's not going to be as expensive because he's piggybacking on a system that already exists. The foundation for it is already there. So smart move on his part. All
right, so that sounds very positive. By the way, we are going to be speaking with Secretary Shulkin coming up in the program. He's going to be joining me soon. I want to ask you this. I don't want to miss the moment to say today is June 6th, General. Today is the 73rd anniversary of D-Day. I want to get a moment to get your thoughts on this as we remember that day.
Yeah, that was the day that changed the war in the Atlantic. It was one of the most ambitious operations the United States and our allies had ever embarked on. It was the largest invasion ever conducted in the history of mankind. And it was quite a remarkable day. And the weather was lousy. We had high seas. We had blowing winds. Some of the amphibious ships were taken off their mark, and they wound up right into the throat of the enemy machine guns, which we've seen replayed in a number of Hollywood films rather accurately, I think. It was quite a day, and we had 150,000 plus involved in that invasion. In the whole operation, we had about a million people involved. And why we were doing it is we had to relieve some of the pressure on the Russians because the Germans had invaded Russia, and also it was the quickest way to Germany. And we had already conducted invasions in Sicily and in Italy, but if we had to go all the way to Germany using that route, that would have been much tougher for us to succeed. So this is the operation that brought World War II to an end eventually in Atlantic, and we did it on the backs of those great soldiers who went in there.
What incredible courage, General. I mean, you know that when they were coming out of those airplanes in the water, they were approaching Normandy, and you had a whole stack, a lineup of snipers, the Germans, ready to take them down. And what did they do? They moved forward.
Yeah. You know, they were in those amphibious ships. They were being bounced around so much that most of them were nauseous. And once that starts, as anybody knows, paratroopers in an airplane like I've been, or guys on an amphibious ship like that, it becomes pretty contagious. So they dropped that plank, and most of them were in water either up to their neck or at least up to their waist, in some cases over their heads, had gear on, and immediately taken, particularly in Utah Beach, immediately taken under heavy machine gun fire and kept moving forward. Guys being mowed down, and they kept coming and coming and coming.
Oh, my God.
Pretty remarkable operation that they did, yes, and we're all indebted to them, and thank you for remembering them.
Oh, my God. I think about my uncle who landed on bloody Omaha and so many others and the courage that it took. Thank you to all our veterans. Thank you, General Jack Keane. We so appreciate your insights and for your service to this great country.
Good talking to Maria.
Thanks, General. General Jack Keane there.